Q4 is the most important part of the year for Amazon sellers, and the last thing you want is to be scrambling around for supplies. So, in this video, I'll show you the exact supplies you need to handle the rush smoothly and keep your inventory moving without any delays. Q4 is right around the corner and it's coming up really quickly. So, I wanted to give you guys this list of all of the supplies that you will need to actually crush this part of the year because it is the biggest part of the year. It's where people make half the amount of the money that they make all year or more, depending on how much you do. You can easily do that if you have the right stuff going on and the right products. But we go through the products in different videos, a lot of different videos. So I wanted to include this video as well, just so that way you guys can get ahead of the game. I will link this document down in the description where you can download it for free, just like in previous videos and other documents and stuff that I've given out. So first up, we're just going to run through this whole list right here. So you're going to need your regular poly bags here. This is what you're going to put most things into if they don't already come in a box. Even if you don't do clothing and shoes, if any part of the product is exposed and it's not in a box or something, you do need to put it into one of these bags here. 11 by 14 is the most common size, whether you do clothing or not. They do have tons of different sizes here. So you could even do a combo if you're not sure. But in my experience, I did the combo at first. Most things will fit into this 11 by 14. If this bag's too big, just fold it over. Like it's really not that big of a deal. 15 cents a bag. It's the cheapest one that I've ever come across. And this is what I use daily for the prep that happens for my business. So they are very good quality. They have everything you need, the suffocation warning and all that. So even outside of FBM, this is a very good choice for you guys to use to just prep your own products. The next one is just going to be a bigger size of that. So anything that doesn't fit into 11 by 14, 14 by 20 is pretty safe. This would be for like backpacks or bigger stuff than a piece of clothing that you can fold over. If you need bigger ones, you can go 20 by 24, stuff like that. But still, 16 cents a bag here. Can't get it any better than that. The next one is going to be your poly mailers. And I'm just going in order here of this list here. So don't worry about trying to figure out what's what. It's all in order here. The poly mailers are going to be what you would put most items into. You may have to use boxes for certain items. Maybe they're too big. If it's something like a pair of shoes and it comes in a box, you don't want to put it into a poly mailer because the box can easily get crushed, damaged. Customers don't really like that. May cause you to get some returns and it may also cause you to get some negative feedback, which when you're doing merchant fulfilled, everybody does need to know that you don't have the same protection on customer reviews as you do when you do FBA. You get a negative review on an FBA fulfilled item, so it's shipped through the warehouse, you can request removal, and 99% of the time, Amazon's going to strike it out and say, we handled the fulfillment of this item. Basically, it's not the seller's fault, and they post a visible message there with it struck through. You're doing merchant fulfilled, it does have to meet certain criteria, like it has to be a review of the product and they just don't like how the product works or something. It has to be directed towards you in a certain way that it's really negative or hateful. So you don't have as much luck getting merchant fulfilled reviews removed. So if something's inside of a box and it's part of the product or the product packaging, make sure you put it into a box. And I'm going to show you guys where you can get your boxes and stuff like that also. But everything else outside of that, if it's clothing, something that's softer, that's not going to get damaged, or it comes in a bag already, use these poly mailers. I do mainly clothing and shoes. Every piece of clothing goes into one of these, shoes go into boxes. They also have different sizes here as well. So it depends on what kind of items you're shipping, but these are the ones that I buy for everything. Everything fits into them for my products at least. You're gonna need tape, whether that's merchant fulfilled or regular if you pack your own shipments. So this is the cheapest that I could find it for this kind of quality. You don't want to cheap out on something like that because if a box rips, opens up, whether it's merchant fulfilled or FBA shipment, not going to be too great because your products are going to fall out potentially. Might let somebody see inside of them and maybe somebody's going to try to take something. You never really know. You don't want to expect it, but it does happen sometimes, especially like when I've gotten supplier packages delivered, box is open already, something's missing. You don't know whether it fell out in transit or what happened to it, but it's because whoever shipped it didn't use the right kind of tape or strong enough tape. So this is what I use for my prep again. All this stuff I personally use and have used for the last 3 years. So don't worry about any of it being bad quality or anything like that. So for after that, we've got our shipping labels and our boxes. These are going to come from UPS themselves. And the way that you get these is you make a UPS business account. If you don't have a business account number, you're not going to see everything. And I'm going to show you what you'll see if you don't have a business account, which is this here. So this is the same page whether you do or don't have a business account. The only difference is going to be what shows up inside of these categories here. And when you go into these, like for the labels, for example, this is not a business account. So all you see are these right here. You're not going to see anything that you actually need. If you have a business account, it's going to show up with 4x6 labels in here instead of 4x5. These are 4 per sheet. You don't want that. You want 4x6 single labels either on a roll or fan folded. And what I put in here is the item number of the fan folded 4x6, just because that's easier than buying something to put a roll on. And if you don't have anything to put a roll on, it doesn't really work. So you can just stack a bunch of them where they come in stacks. You can just stack it on a table or a desk, wherever you put your printer, if you have one of these, and then you can get them. So if you don't want to go through the hassle of opening up an account and giving out your information and all that kind of stuff, everybody's different. You can email this email right here, customer.service@ups.com. Ask them to send you free UPS labels, this item number. And they'll send you a huge box of them. It's not like a big sized box, but there's a ton of labels in there because they're a piece of paper. So you're going to get probably 1,000 or more of them inside of one box. I get like one box every year and a half. I think I've only ever ordered 2 times from them, and it's lasted me this long. It's been 3 years. So not anything to worry about on that end about having to do it all the time, but it is better than going out and buying your own. Now, this is only going to work with this kind of 4x6 printer, which is right here. In the beginning, not worth paying $200 for this kind of printer if you have a regular one. If you have a regular printer, then just print it out on a piece of paper, cut it out, tape it on the box. Pretty easy. But after a while, and you're doing tons of orders, you may need to save on some time or just for convenience. And this is the printer that I use and I have used for the last 3 years, every single Q4, and even for the in-house prep that I have going on for the rest of the year. So very good option right here. They do also have a wireless one, but it costs more and it doesn't hurt to just plug in a wire. The boxes are also going to come from UPS. They are specific sizes and they are going to be all labeled UPS Express. You can send them an email, ask them if they'll send you plain brown boxes. I personally haven't done that because I haven't needed to, but I do know of people who have gotten free plain brown boxes from them. But when you're doing merchant fulfilled orders, you are going to be having the option to do a lot of UPS. So if it is just labeled with UPS Express, not a huge deal, but you have a lot of options here. They come in 50 pieces, 25 pieces, and then you just check the box and add it to your order right there if that's the one that you want. But do some research on how big your products are first. You can always check it in SellerAmp, see the dimensions, see which boxes would fit you best here. Then we've got this, which isn't a necessity, but it does kind of make life easier at certain points. It's just going to scrape your labels off if you have to do that. You don't always have to do that, but sometimes what happens is companies will put the price inside of the label, like in the middle of it, and you can't really tear it off without taking off something important, and you don't want to just throw the label over it when you're doing FBA. If you're doing merchant fulfilled, you're not going to be putting an FNSKU label on a product. You're just going to be putting the regular shipping label on it on the outside of the packaging. So when it comes to merchant fulfilled, this is really important because you will need to get prices off if they don't come off easily. This is basically a razor blade, but not metal. So only $8. It might come in handy, it might not. Never know, but it's a good thing to have just in case because you don't want to make the product look horrible if you're tearing it off by hand if you do need something like that. Then we've got a box cutter. It is optional also. I personally don't use one. A lot of people do though. Just use a pair of scissors that's around that I have. So not a necessity again, but in case people do want something or you have multiple people helping you out, you need a couple of them, $10 a piece. Not too bad, but I don't use this kind of thing right there. The last thing that I want to mention is in case UPS does not have the right size boxes that you need, say you're doing a lot of shoes or something bigger than what fits in those thin boxes. This is what I ended up using last Q4 when I was doing a lot of shoes or bigger items is just plain boxes here, 14 by 10 by 6. Fits most things. I think the shoes that fit in there were up to around like a 10 and a half or 11 in men's. So if you have anything smaller, it's just gonna have a little bit of extra room. Not too bad, but again, this is the cheapest thing that I could find. I did a lot of searching for this item because I needed it in a crunch, and it is back ordered right now until November 7th, but this time of year is going to be right around that. So I did pick them up at a store near me also. 91 cents a box though, not really going to get any better than that. So in case you guys need this, I'm going to add this one to the list also, and make sure that you get the copy of this downloaded description. If you guys have any questions about any of the products that I was showing in this video, or there's any other items that you think that you need or you need help deciding between, let me know down there also and I can help you figure those things out. There's a link in the description for if somebody is looking for my help starting their business or growing their Amazon business. Don't forget to grab your copy of this document as well down there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.